whole purpose of the podcast is to help people live in balance, well-being, and joy. I call this series Uncomplicated because if we know how to put yourself first, create harmony, give back and share, and always keep reaching. Once you have that solid foundation, everything else falls into place. Welcome to the Commit Podcast, the Uncomplicated series. I'm Doris Bogus, your host, and I want to welcome you along this journey with me. Hello, everyone. This is Doris B. Today, I'm going to talk to you about regrets and how not to have them. Now, I'm going to start off right away. Did you know that 76% of people regret not living up to their ideal self, while only 24% regret not following their obligations? There's a huge imbalance there. And this is according to an article written in a psychology journal by David Angelovich, who said that the reason people don't follow their dreams is because of fear, forced obligations, and self-doubt. It demands on one's life. So I'm going to ask you, as you sit here listening to me, or sitting at your desk, or driving in your car, I want you to think about one thing that you regret not having done, or one thing that you wish you could go back and change if you could. And then fast forward 5, 10, 15 years from now, and if someone were to ask you that same question, do you have any regrets about one thing you haven't done? Would you have done them? What would your answer be? Now, the reason that's so important is because not only will it prevent you from not living your life and fulfilling your dreams right now, but it will prevent you from the heartache of living a secondhand life, of just floating through life with your passions buried deep inside of you. And the reason that subject is so important to me is because I watched a relative who regretted that she could not fulfill her dream of being a fashion designer. She wanted to, she was really good at it, but her parents passed away when she was young and the money was just not there. But every time that she would talk about her dream, she would get more and more depressed. And eventually that led to mental stress and heart disease. And it was just not good. She lived a secondhand life all her life. So I ask you again, 5, 10, 15 years from now, will you have regrets about not following your dream and living up to your ideal self? Now, if you'll give me 15 minutes of your attention, I'll give you 3 important ways to prevent you from having any regrets about living your true dreams and ideal best self. This first part, we're going to talk about rediscovering your forgotten dreams and aspirations. They're tucked away still inside of you. You just got to pull them out. Part 2 is going to be how to know your best self. If you want to know who you are, you've got to spend time with yourself. So, how much time do you really spend with yourself? And what would be the benefit of doing all of that? And number 3, part 3, how do you express your best self every day? How do you do that when life beats you down and you don't feel like it? How do you show up and shine every day? So those are the 3 parts that we're going to talk about to help you prevent yourself from having regrets about not following your dream. You get to the end of your life and you go, "Oops, I didn't follow my dreams," and you have regrets about that. So today I want you to reflect on your past, though, your past childhood. I want you to think about when you were 5, maybe 8 years old. What did you want to be? You know, back then when you're a child, everything is possible and you delighted in it. But what made you feel alive? Who did you look up to? Who inspired you? Were there any activities or achievements that made you proud? See, those moments are clues to your core talents and what motivates them. Just got to pull them back out and jot them down and make a mental note for yourself right now. I want you to jot them down if you can, or make a mental note. But I want to take you back in time to a journey with me, and you can follow along and put yourself in my shoes with whatever dream or passion that was ignited in you as a child. See, when I first knew that I wanted to be a public speaker and to write books, I was 5 years old, and I had a 2-sentence speech in an Easter program put on at the Recreation Center by my Sunday school teacher, Miss Bradford. And I remember walking on the stage feeling confident because those church ladies made us rehearse over and over again. So I was well prepared. And I looked good too because I had on a new canary yellow dress, nylon dress with lace around the sleeves and a satin ribbon around the waist tied tight with a big old bow in the back. And I had on a pair of black patent leather Mary Jane shoes that were shiny. And I had a pretty big satin bow in my hair. My hair looked good too. So I was ready. So I walked on the stage, my little short brown legs moved with confidence, and I could hear the swish swish of my crinoline slip as I walked. Now, you guys know that crinoline slips made your dress stand out and it made you look like a little princess, a Disney princess. So that's what I thought. So I couldn't see anybody in the audience though because the lights were low. I couldn't see my friends or my family members, but I remember the spotlight was on me. And I was in another place in time. I can just feel the audience and I every time I talk about it, I put myself back in that space. And I gave my 2 sentence speech, right? Come all and rejoice. He has risen. The room exploded with clapping. And I didn't really expect that because I was doing my part. I was doing what I was told to do. And startled and amazed that they were clapping for me, I was taken aback for a minute, but when I looked up, all I could see was a mass of darkness, and I could hear the thunderous sound of clapping. Now, everybody, all of us wanted Miss Bradford to be proud of us, and so I took my bow and I left the stage smiling ear to ear. And I could still hear the applause as I walked away. And I got a big hug from my Sunday school teacher, Miss Bradford, and she told me how proud of me she was. So that, along with the clapping and the welcoming and the cheers, made me feel good deep down inside. And so to this day, that's what I love doing. I've pursued other creative outlets, but nothing has ever compared or excited me more than the first time speaking in public. And to this day, whenever I speak, I carry a satin ribbon with me tucked somewhere on my body. So, what about you? What childhood dream still lives in you, still waiting to be realized? What are they? Think about them. Make a mental note of them if you can't write them down right now. But please write them down. I like recordings, but in digital apps, but there's something about putting pen to paper that makes it more real. It makes it more alive. It makes it possible for you to do. And it makes it possible for you to take action when you can see it written down every day. Sticky notes all around my house is a must, and I encourage you to do the same. Now, why don't we follow our dreams again? The author said we all get busy. We get busy living our lives. We get busy with the obligations and the roles that we must play. I'm not saying abandon your roles, but there's ways that you can mitigate those roles and obligations because we all get busy and our dreams get pushed further and further and further and further behind. We start families. We have children, maybe. We have a career, work, bills, responsibilities, and we get into a rut, a routine, and we're content. And we don't even realize we're in a rut, but somewhere deep down inside, something doesn't feel right. We lose track of who we are. And I remember one time I took a look at myself in the mirror. I had buried myself so deep. I took a look in the mirror and looked myself directly into my eyes, and I couldn't figure out who it was, what the personality, what she liked, what she dreamed about, what what was her core. I couldn't figure out who she was. It was like a blank stranger staring back at me. So that's when I knew I had to make a change. And here's the 3 things that you can do when you come to that point, right? You can stop saying yes. Number 1, stop saying yes to things you don't want to do and you don't have time to do. Just say no. And just remember this one thing and repeat it over and over. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain why you don't want to do something. Just no and let it drop. Number 2, delegate. Stop being a control freak. That was one of my issues. I wanted to control everything. And that was just not possible if I wanted to follow my dreams and have time for myself. See, I had the super self sufficiency syndrome. Do you have the super self sufficiency syndrome? Are you afraid to delegate? It's just a control mechanism. So explore your reasons why you need to control everything and drop it because it's not working for you. It's not giving you the time you need to devote to your dream. And number 3, stop comparing yourself to others and stop worrying about what others think. If you think about it, people spend less time thinking about you than you think. I know that's humbling. I know that may be a little bit um, disturbing that you're not so important to others that they don't spend time thinking about you. But really, how much time do you spend thinking about other people? The same thing applies to them about you. So again, the 3 things: no is a complete sentence. Number 2, delegate. Number 3, stop comparing yourself to other people and what they're doing and what they think about you. So what about you now? Have you ever, I know you've said yes to things you don't want to do. And I know we can be perfectionists because no one can do things like we can do, but give those up. Those characteristics, those personal habits and ruts that you've gotten yourself in prevent you from the time to follow your own dream. So practice those three things and move forward. Now, how do you move forward after you've figured out those three things? Now, reconnect with your dreams. Once you do that, if you say you want to be a writer, start writing short stories. Read them to your family. Make your kids sit down and listen to you. Join a writing club. If you want to dance, join a dance class. If you want to sing, take singing lessons. If you want to paint, paint. Take painting lessons. But do something. Small things, not jumping off of a cliff, but do small things to reignite that passion in you. It makes you feel more vibrant, more creative, more juices start to flow. And then when you look at yourself in the mirror, you recognize that person. Aside from the many roles that you play, you'll recognize, you'll get back to you, what your dreams were. So that's what I encourage you to do. So what's holding you back? What's holding you back right now? Well, that's what we're going to discuss in part two of not having regrets. So I invite you to tune in next week, part two of Regrets. No, thank you. This is Doris B. signing off. I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.